Hello everyone, this is my discussion for week 4 regarding thick and thin approach to software development and which one kind of is the better one and what each one does. So a thick client is a client that functions independent of a server, while a thin one is one that kind of relies on the server to do most of the heavy processing. So the thick one actually does a lot of the processing independent of having to connect to a server. I think these days, it's becoming more prevalent to see a thick client-side software development because of the prevalence of mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets, where you download individual apps and all of the computing process is actually done on the device itself. There is still a large need for thin type of processing in the like the cloud-based infrastructure where all of the computing is done not on the computer itself, but on a like the cloud. Something like Google Docs actually would be an example of that, because Google Docs, all of the word processing and stuff is done off of the actual device, the computer itself, instead on a server somewhere in Google's cloud infrastructure. So client-side programming is definitely easier on the network because all of the processing is done actually on the computer itself or the device itself, as opposed to a server-side one where the device would normally have to connect up to a server and send instructions on the network to the server to produce or perform the functions that are necessary. So I found this great article from profilus.com that kind of displays thick client versus thin client, the difference, and then some drawbacks of each one. So, like a thick client that operates independently of a server has rich graphical interface, better data programming and processing, server performance efficiency, and it can work offline. And then it goes into an advantage of a thin client and then the drawbacks of thick clients. So thin clients, have an optimization of hardware resources, they have a reduced hardware and software maintenance, lesser security vulnerability, and the cost effectiveness and efficiency. I'll obviously link this in my discussion, but I thought it was kind of an interesting read and the differences and pros and cons of each one. So yeah, in conclusion, I think that right now we're seeing a large shift towards the thick client where all of the processing is done off of the server side due to the prevalence of smartphones and tablet-like devices. So thank you.